Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Catching Up. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. Today we have a special guest. He's not a CrossFit Games athlete, but dang, he is fit. Team Richey YouTube fitness personality, Craig Richey. It's great to have you today.
Hi, it's fun to be on.
We're kind of switching your job. Normally you're the one doing the interviewing, and now you're being interviewed. Are you a little
It's
nervous?
easier to do the interview, I think. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
easier to ask the questions and sit back.
Exactly, and learn about somebody else instead of having the tables turn. You don't always know what questions they're gonna ask, but it's so great to have you in this role because we just want to get to know more about you, and you've had a lot of exciting things happen in your life recently.
Probably for the last 4 years, we've had a lot of exciting things happen. It's been a wild ride recently. Yeah.
It certainly has. And, about a month ago, you won the British Senior Weightlifting Championship in the 89 kilo weight class. You had a 298 pound or 135 kilo snatch and a 344 pound or a 156 kilo clean and jerk. I mean, first, congrats. That is incredible. But talk to me about the training leading up to it. And is this something that you enjoyed and actually want to stick with?
I'm 100% sticking with it. It was about 7 months out from the British Weightlifting Championships. It was like that time, where it was like COVID was happening and you're a bit like, it's still here and things still, I'm like, right, we're going into winter now. And I'm like, the days are going to get short, it's going to be cold. And I just wanted something different to focus on. I've always been all right at the Olympic lifting stuff. I've always been relatively strong. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna send it. I'm just gonna go for the British champs. I'm gonna go all in, and I'm just gonna see what happens. And on the day, honestly, I didn't hit what I knew I could hit. It was a bittersweet, like I was super happy that the result was what I wanted, but I was disappointed with how I performed, which then sucked me in a little bit more. So now, yeah, it's something that I'm definitely going to carry on with in the future and be like, we're going to hit a lot more competitions, which is exciting for me.
With the open right around the corner and that kind of in the rear view mirror at this point, are you, by the time this video goes live rather, we're already going to be in the open, but are you signing up? Are you going to get back into CrossFit?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun. For me, it's like, it's always been, there's my food.
Your food has arrived.
No, for me, it's always been, the open has been stressful because I've always wanted to compete and be as competitive as I can in the CrossFit world. Whereas now that my focus has fully shifted into like weightlifting, I'm even more excited for the open because I'm just going to do it for fun. Like I haven't done proper cardio in about a month and a half. And I don't think I've done a Metcon since Strength in Depth, which was November.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's
22.1, it's gonna hit you hard.
Yeah, and I can't wait. Yeah. To be honest.
So would you say that this is kind of the first year that it is just for fun and you don't really have like a specific goal in sight when it comes to like the CrossFit season?
Yeah. So before it would be like all my training is focused towards CrossFit. And, like I've been around a lot of CrossFit Games athletes and I was like the CrossFit YouTuber. So it was more like I felt the stress and I felt like I have to perform and I have to do pretty well. Whereas this year, because I have different goals, like, yes, I won the British, but my main goals now going forward are breaking the British records, which is a 140 in the snatch, which is what, like a 305 snatch, and 176 in the clean and jerk. And they're two things that I know I can do. It's just going to be a matter of time. I know I can already do the snatch, but obviously you have to do it in competition. Sure. The clean and jerk is going to take me another year. So it's like now that I have a focus that is different away from CrossFit, now when I come to CrossFit events, it's more fun for me because I'm like, there's no pressure. And I'm just gonna have fun with it and do it like with the community,
Wow, that's so cool. So when it comes to the open and last year, you made it to quarterfinals. You were 381st in Europe for quarterfinals.
Yeah, I sandbagged one of the workouts for sure.
What do you mean you sandbagged one of the workouts?
We got to the quarterfinals and it was, if you got to the quarterfinals, it was the GHD one, where it was like 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 GHDs. And at that time, we didn't have a GHD at our box. So I hadn't done it. And I knew I wasn't going to progress regardless of my result in that workout. And I'm like, the last thing I want to do right now is completely destroy like my abs. I haven't
Yeah.
done GHDs in a year and a half. I don't want any chance of having rhabdo. Like, I'm doing this for fun, you know. So it's like I sandbagged a workout, but yeah, I was never gonna make it through anyway. But it was like, yeah, to be fair, they were fun semifinals. And
Yeah.
what was crazy to me is, was it a 3RM or a 4RM front squat?
Front squat, yep, a 4RM.
Was one of those, and I hit 160. And like 2-3 months ago, I hit 170 for 4x4. So like my strength
Wow.
over the last 7 months of just focusing solely on weightlifting has completely shifted how I perform. It's just going to be interesting to see how I perform in the open now.
Yeah. Did you see that they came out with the equipment list for the quarterfinals already too?
Yeah, I actually haven't read through it. So I'm doing
Yeah.
a news video on it tomorrow,
No.
but I actually I haven't read through it yet. I've been having a bit of downtime, to be honest. You know, since
Yeah.
I had the 7 months build up to the competition, and it was like regular YouTube videos. Like I could feel the pressure, obviously, just a little bit here and there, and it was a lot of like mentally draining. Like when you're focusing on something so solely for 7 months, and then it happens. For the last like 2 or 3 weeks, I've really just kind of taken myself away from like CrossFit, news, training, like just I just gone back into like the flow of just right. I'm going to chill out for a bit, and I haven't really been doing YouTube either. Like I've
Yeah.
been putting the odd episode out here and there, but starting next week we're back, and well, starting tomorrow really, back with the next
Okay, we're
video.
back because, the season is starting.
Yeah.
Can we expect to see you at any of the semifinals, assuming that most of them, if not all of them, can be in person this year?
Yeah, well, I'll be there. I'll be there in person watching. We'll be at the Strength in Depth because that's obviously in the UK. That's like
Mm.
super local for us. We may have a stand there, which is going to be super cool with our clothing brand. And then we'll probably go to the Lowlands Throwdown as well because it's a short flight to Amsterdam. So those will be the two that we'll go to. But then we'll have videographers at other events because we have our athletes there now, which is super exciting too. And we should see quite a few of our athletes at the semifinals.
You possibly, I think that we can give you the title of the fittest YouTuber slash content creator. When you were getting into this and just started playing around with YouTube, did you ever think that it was going to blow up as much as it has?
This is a question that like the answer that a lot of people would expect is no, but then also the answer that I say is like yes, but you kind of have to believe in yourself that it's going to happen. You know, like I was getting into YouTube at the start, like right at the start. No, it was more for fun. It's like, I'm just going to make these videos. I saw someone else do it. Cool, whatever. But then when it starts flowing, you're like, like I could be a big YouTuber if I carry on, you know, like hopefully things fall into place and it just happens. And like the odd video gets picked up and, you just kind of fall into being a YouTuber and it happens over time. So yeah, you kind of, at the start you have that dream of doing it, but it's when it actually happens you're like, oh damn, like this is actually happening now, which is then actually like a really cool thing, like I would say nearly from the start I've been with my girlfriend Jasmine,
Mhm.
and she knows the struggles that I went through at the start. For the first 2 or 3 years we made no money. She was the one that basically brought the money in, and I was just like, no, trust me, this YouTube thing is going to work, just keep making videos. She'd drive us up and down the country, we'd try and do like box tours and stuff. And then yeah, now like 7-8 years on, it's crazy to be where we're at with like obviously the business and the training program and the YouTube and the friends that we have in the space that people would like love to meet. It's kind of crazy to call people like Fraser and Tia and like Pat like your friends. It's kind of like, whoa, wild.
When you were a kid, were you somebody that, had to have a camcorder and did like random videos or interviews? Like just growing up, was YouTubing in some sense or video interviews and things like that in your nature? Or was this really a hobby or skill that you found later in life, like you said, about 8 years ago?
Uh, I've always been like a bit into like that sort of stuff. I think the first thing that I ever put on YouTube was me and my mate, and I had my guitar and we were just singing. I hope nobody can find that. But
We're
you know
all
what I
going to
mean? Like
search it
I've
now.
always just had like a bit of fun with it. And then yeah, when I saw the other YouTuber, he's called Christian Guzman at the time. He was doing the physique stuff. I was doing the bodybuilding stuff at the time too. And I was like, oh, this dude, like he looks like to be having fun with it. I feel like I can do that. And then I just started, My grandpa actually bought me my first ever camera because I couldn't afford one. So I got to thank him really for most of this.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like I'm gonna have a go at this because I saw someone else do it, and I'm like, maybe it'll pay off, and it has, which is great.
What's it like when you go and I mean, whether you're interviewing some of those top athletes, but specifically because you are so stinking fit, what is it like working out with people like Fraser and Froning and Tia, the top athletes?
You have a working out with the athletes is like it's an amazing thing because you have an appreciation. Like I always say that I was never going to be the best CrossFitter because after spending time with Tia, Fraser, like Rich, everyone, the amount of time that they dedicate to be that top level athlete is incredible. And when you run businesses and you have the YouTube channel and stuff like that, I don't have that much time or mental focus to give to being at that level. I can always be like a good CrossFitter, but I'll never be the best. So then when you're with them, it's just there are levels and then there are levels. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty fit. Like I can. One time we did like 80 flights in a year because we were traveling around everywhere, going into all the sanctionals, hanging out with all the athletes, doing all these cool videos, and I did my back in. And so for like 6 months straight, I pretty much did strict handstand push-ups and strict pull-ups. And then I was like, right, I'm gonna nail Fraser at this because I've been doing strict handstand push-ups for ages. And there's a video on the YouTube channel of me challenging him to a strict handstand push-ups. It's like 50 handstand push-ups for time, rest 2 minutes, 30 handstand push-ups for time. And then I was like, I went into it and I'm like, I've been doing handstand push-ups 6 months.
I got you.
Yeah, this is like, I know he's the fittest on earth, but like I've been doing this and he still beat me, which was incredible.
Humbling.
And that's when you realize how good these people actually are. You really do.
Can you think of what the most difficult workout that you've ever done is, whether it was, with one of these athletes or just through your own programming?
I don't think, well, there's the worst workout that I've ever seen done. I've never done it myself is Friendly Fran, to be honest. I think to me, that is the most impressive workout that I've ever seen Fraser do, which was the games qualification or the online thing. And when you see it in person, like I saw it at was it in the semifinals? It was in the semifinals with like last year in the online stuff. Some of my friends do it who were super fit, who were competing in the semifinals. And to see them break where Fraser would complete it, I was like, wow, that has to be one of the worst workouts ever. And Fraser made it look so easy. So yeah.
Makes everything look too easy.
Yeah, you really did. You really did.
So what's the hardest movement for you? Or the one that you would love to hate?
I'd love to hate. I mean, running, to be honest.
Me too. It's terrible.
Yeah. Running's one of those things, though, that when you get into the flow of it, like Jazz, my girlfriend, she did 100K in a month for like charity. And at the start, the 5Ks were like, she was like, I hate these 5Ks. These are terrible. And then by the end, she was doing 10 or 15Ks. And she was like, oh, actually, I'm really starting to enjoy this. So it's one of those things that, with running, I feel like one day in my life when I'm done with weightlifting and I'm done with all this stuff, I feel like I might do a bit of running. And I'll hate it at the start, but hopefully it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm addicted now. And then you get good at it.
So other than, the fitness, obviously the YouTube is quite a hit, but let's talk about some of the other things that you have going on between teaming up with Team Podium, your clothing company. You have so many different, hands in stuff that's still relevant with the fitness community. What is how did it all start?
The clothing line started because one day I was sat on my couch and we'd got to like 100,000 subscribers or 50. I can't remember how many subscribers it was, but I was like, man, I have hustled to get to where I am. Like I was just thinking about it. And then I was like, hustle made. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But then I didn't want to put hustle because it sounded too cliche, like the full word. So I just took out a couple of the vowels and I was like, oh, damn, that looks cool. And then from there, I just went upstairs and I was like, Jazz, hustle made. I showed her the logo, and then from there we just started the clothing, which was really fun. Podium is an amazing supplement company, and I am so thankful to be one of the first athletes that they asked to be on board with them.
You're an OG.
From idolizing Fraser and like seeing the Buttery Bros documentaries, for them then to ask me to be one of the first athletes along with Justin Medeiros, the fittest man on earth, I'm like, wow, this is just wild, isn't it?
You're in great company.
A little guy that started YouTube in his kitchen. And then, this will go out after actually we've made the announcement, but also we've now teamed up with GoWad. I did them for a whole month up to the British champs. So I was like, I'm going to do a non-bias. I spoke to the owner. I'm like, I'm going to do a non-bias try of it up to the British champs. I'm a month out now. I'm starting to get a few niggles or whatever. And I did it for a month. Like the British champs came around, my body felt amazing. Yeah, I didn't hit what I want, but like I came out of it and I was like, I need to be a part of this team. So we're announcing that pretty soon too, which is obviously a big part of the CrossFit space as well.
What is your favorite thing to do that's not fitness related?
Wow, we play Call of Duty mostly with my friends. It's a way of catching up with my friends from school, you know. So we have like
Yeah.
my CrossFit friends and my CrossFit life with YouTube and with everything that we do clothing wise and whatever. That's kind of like business, CrossFit space. And then I have my friends that I've been with from like school since we've been like 5 years old. And I unplug by just playing Call of Duty and shouting down the microphone to people killing me on the internet.
Do you have a
Brilliant.
soundproof room so that Jazz can't hear you yelling and screaming as you're playing late
I
at night?
don't. But I'm glad that we've just moved house because the other house, it was a semi-detached, so our wall backed onto our neighbour's wall, and I'm sure they could hear every single conversation that we would have.
Like, thank God they're gone.
F off here and there and everywhere. Yeah. The worst one was that Jazz went out actually to the supermarket, and we had these big French doors that opened up onto the street, and it was on the second floor, and it was deadly silent, like 7 p.m. at night. We had a pretty quiet street, and apparently she could hear me from the end of the street coming home, shouting through these open French doors. Because obviously, when you got your headphones on, you can't hear nothing anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, my pastime is sometimes shouting so loud that the whole street knows that I'm not doing very well on a game.
They know when you're just having a bad night in there.
Yeah, but also recently, more related to fitness, it's sauna and ice bathing. We just got an ice bath today. That's
yeah, I saw that. I think you dipped just your toe in the ice bath.
Yeah. But tonight I did a minute. I actually got warm. Yeah. So this morning, bit of context, it was cold. I just got out of bed. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump in and see what happens. And then I couldn't do it. But then tonight we had the sauna. Spent 15 minutes in the sauna and then jumped in, and I could actually stay in there for a minute. Felt amazing, and then another 15 minutes of sauna. That's probably why I'm a bit red-faced right now.
Yeah. So you have both of them at your house now?
Yeah. Just for recovery, to be honest. Like, I feel amazing when I'm warm. You know, like when we used to travel and we used to go to like Australia, or you're in a nice part of America where it's hot all the time. I don't get that many aches and pains, but especially during like the winter over here, like I get a lot of aches and pains. But I found that since using the sauna 2-3 times a week, 20-30 minutes, touch wood, that like it's made a difference to how my body feels. And I'm excited to actually try the ice bath for like a prolonged amount of time.
Yeah.
So apparently the benefits are incredible. You're supposed to do 9 minutes of ice a week and 57 minutes.
I thought you were going to say at once. And I was like, I could not sit in there for 9 minutes.
Neither could I. I think I would disintegrate.
Yeah. You'd find me as a popsicle in there.
Yeah, literally. I'd have to defrost.
Yeah, during the shutdowns, when they shut down saunas, I actually invested in my own sauna too, and I've seen so many benefits from that. But the ice bath, it's going to take me a while to get to that because I'll go into a cold shower immediately after, and I try to make it 30 seconds in the freezing cold water, and it tends to be like maybe 10 seconds, and then like I'm switching it over to as hot.
It's different though when it's hitting your body. Like when I found tonight when you're like submerged.
Yeah.
Like I actually felt better. It's got this nice little blue light around it, and you're sat in there with all the ice floating, and you're like, "This is pretty cool, like badass." And I'm like, I can't feel my fingers on my toes, but I feel pretty badass, you know.
It even looked like one of your dogs was trying to jump in a little bit, like the paw.
Carla is a water child. She will any sort of water. She'll lie down in the puddles. She'll jump in the lake. She'll go in the river. Yeah, she's. If I leave that top off, she'll be in there.
Craig, what is the one goal that you're looking to achieve in the next calendar year?
Honestly, for me, this year is just about breaking the snatch record and getting as close to the clean and jerk record as I can. I'm a very realistic person. Like, I know my body well enough now after training for how long I've been training to know my physical capabilities. Like, I have this thing in my mind now where it's like Project 150, 180, which is a 150 snatch, 180 clean and jerk. I know physically I can do that, which is like what, a 330-pound snatch, and I think it's like a 400-pound clean and jerk. I know physically I can do that, but it's going to take me a couple of years. So like this year, I want to hit over 140, 170. Next year, I want to go, or maybe 2 years, depending on how long it takes. I'm enjoying training. Like, I'm in no rush to hit it, but I want to hit 150, 180. Hit some big boy numbers, you know?
Hell yeah. And you're enjoying the process. So what more could you ask for? Having
Yeah,
fun.
it's been enjoyable, to be honest. You know, like, it's different to CrossFit. You know, sometimes you second guess CrossFit where you're like, am I getting enough gymnastics training in? It's like the three pillars, the cardiovascular,
Sure.
the gymnastics, and the weightlifting. You're like, am I compromising too much on one to work on another? Whereas with weightlifting, obviously, you're just focusing on getting stronger with the clean and jerk and the snatch. That's it. So then when you have your periodized program and week in, week out, you know, you just go in, I write down the stuff on my board, I tick it off as I go. You know, it's like no questions asked. And for me personally, like training for 3 hours a day is great. Like I go in from 11 till 2 and I can get all of my weightlifting done, because if you do any more kind of weightlifting than that, your central nervous system is going to just blow up and your body's going to fall apart. So it's actually nice to be able to give my all into something, rather than with CrossFit. I could do 2 or 3 hours a day, but then I know I'd probably have to sink another hour and a half, 2 hours, which I just didn't have to be at that level of sport, of competitive sport that like I enjoy, you know?
If people aren't already following you, which I can't imagine anybody watching this doesn't already follow you,
Oh,
but
no,
if
there's
they're
plenty of them.
not, come on, guys. Where can people find you? What's your YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff?
It's Team Richey on YouTube, but Richey is spelled Richey. There's so many ways to spell it that you get the odd spelling here, there, and everywhere. And then Instagram, it's CAR and then Richey, because my name is Craig Alexander Ralph Richey. So I thought, you know, just, yeah, very
Short, sweet.
suave. Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yes, it is.
Very
Well, thank you
English.
so much for catching up with us. You've got a lot of cool things coming up, and I'm sure that we'll be in touch and we'll definitely see you during the CrossFit season.
Yeah, at the CrossFit Games as a fan.
As a fan.
Yeah, as
Okay.
a
Are you
fan.
gonna have a booth or anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. I like to go. I don't want to. When we go to these big events, everyone's like, "You're gonna have a booth. You're gonna have your brand there," and I'm like, "Oh, like I want to enjoy the event and not have to stress about having to look after people and brands and things like that." So probably not. But you'll see us like mulling around with the camera, having fun. So if they do, then I can shout and call them a legend, and they can call me a legend.
Then we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, love it.
Cheers.